Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by asking you a question. What happens when you withdraw your attention from something or someone that once consumed your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions? You might think it's a simple act of detachment, but in truth, it's one of the most profound demonstrations of personal power. To stop caring doesn't mean to abandon responsibility or to become indifferent to the world. Far from it. It's about reclaiming the energy you've poured into things that no longer serve you, things that have trapped you in cycles of resentment, frustration, or dependency. And here's the irony. The moment you stop caring about external validation, you disrupt the fragile equilibrium of those who relied on your attention to feel significant. You see, there's a psychological principle at play here. Human beings crave control and predictability. When someone cares deeply, they become predictable. They respond, they react, they invest. But when you stop, when you withdraw it, forces the other party to confront a reality they may not be prepared for. They are not the center of your universe. This drives them mad because it challenges their sense of importance. Suddenly, they must grapple with their own insecurities, their own shortcomings. And this, my friends, is where your power lies, not in seeking revenge or proving a point, but in becoming self-sufficient, independent in your thoughts, and unshaken by the whims of others. But let me be clear. To stop caring doesn't mean you stop feeling. It doesn't mean you shut yourself off from love or compassion. It means you stop attaching your worth to how others perceive you. It means you set boundaries and refuse to allow your peace to be dictated by external chaos. Think of it like this. If you're carrying a heavy backpack up a mountain and someone keeps tossing rocks into it, what's the rational thing to do? You stop. You open the bag and you throw out the unnecessary weight. You don't argue with the person tossing the rocks. You simply refuse to carry them anymore. Now, this doesn't come without cost. When you stop caring, when you draw those boundaries, some people will push back. They'll accuse you of being cold, selfish, or ungrateful. Why? Because your detachment highlights their dependence. They may even lash out, attempting to regain control over the dynamic they've lost. But their reaction is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself, to ensure you're living a life aligned with your values, your purpose, and your peace. And here's the beauty of it. When you stop caring, when you remove yourself from these cycles of dependency, you create space for growth, for clarity, for relationships built on mutual respect rather than manipulation. You gain the freedom to focus on what truly matters, to invest your energy where it can flourish, not where it is squandered. So stop caring not as an act of rebellion, but as an act of self-respect. Reclaim your power, let go of what no longer serves you, and watch how the world around you changes, not because you tried to change it, but because you had the courage to change yourself. When you stop caring about things that drain your energy or seeking validation from others, you tap into one of the most powerful and liberating forces available to you, your own self-sufficiency. The idea that not caring can drive people mad seems counterintuitive at first. After all, we live in a world that teaches us the importance of attention, of being emotionally invested, of being present in all things. But in reality, there is immense power in withdrawing from these external demands. When you stop caring, you stop feeding into the cycles of dependency and expectation that others place on you. It is not an act of selfishness or cruelty, it is a reclaiming of personal autonomy. Caring deeply to the point of giving away too much of your emotional energy or mental focus makes you predictable. It places you in a box where others know exactly how you will react to their actions or words. You become a constant and known quantity, and often, this predictability is used against you. People who seek control or validation will learn to manipulate you, knowing that if they push the right buttons, you will respond in the exact way they expect. This response may come in the form of emotional investment, attention, or even sacrifices on your part that you didn't truly want to make. You see, when you are emotionally entangled with others in ways that leave you open to their influence, you give up a part of your sovereignty. Your emotions, your decisions, and your sense of self become tied to their expectations. But when you withdraw from caring, something profound happens. You stop being predictable. You stop allowing yourself to be defined by external forces and begin to define yourself through your own internal compass. This is where the power lies. When you cease to care about how others see you or how much they demand of you, you regain control over your emotional state. The people around you may initially react with confusion, anger, or even desperation. Okay, they no longer know how to make you respond. You are no longer the person they can manipulate, the person who will always show up to meet their needs or absorb their emotional turbulence. This shift isn't a malicious one. It is simply an acknowledgement that your emotional energy and your attention are precious. The people who once relied on you to be a constant, a predictable figure, may not understand why you've chosen to pull back. They may feel abandoned or rejected, and this is where the madness begins. When someone no longer holds your attention, when they no longer know how to make you react or evoke your emotional investment, they lose their grasp on you. You have disrupted the dynamic that once gave them power, and that disorientation can drive them mad. It forces them to question their own self-worth and their place in your life. These are significant, quantifiable shifts, but no life coach can do this for you. They cannot be the one to navigate this terrain for you. In the world of human relationships, control is often exerted through emotions, manipulation, guilt, expectation, or dependency. People who depend on your constant care will try to make you feel responsible for their emotions or their happiness. They'll rely on your willingness to care deeply to fulfill their own needs, sometimes without even realizing it. But when you stop caring, when you choose not to feed into these emotional demands, it becomes a silent yet powerful act of defiance. You are no longer at the mercy of their whims, their needs, or their emotional states. Stopping caring doesn't mean you don't care about people or that you turn into a cold, detached individual. It doesn't mean you abandon your capacity for empathy or love. It means you stop letting others dictate your emotional state, your priorities, or your sense of worth. It's an important distinction. You can still be compassionate, loving, and empathetic, but you do it from a place of strength, not obligation. You care because you want to, not because you feel coerced. This is a choice that comes from self-respect, and it is one of the most liberating decisions you can make in your life. Imagine for a moment that you've spent years trying to please others, meeting their expectations, responding to their emotional needs, and being the reliable person they can always turn to. In doing so, you've built a life where your worth is defined by what others need from you. You've become predictable in your responses, almost like a puppet whose strings are pulled by the people around you. You may have thought this was the right thing to do, that this was how you formed meaningful relationships. But over time, you begin to realize that your emotional and mental energy is being depleted. You are no longer the person you used to be. You are simply a reflection of everyone else's demands. Now picture yourself stepping back from that pattern. You stop catering to every emotional demand. You begin to prioritize your own mental space, your time, and your emotional well-being. You still care about people, but you no longer allow them to control you through their emotional needs. Suddenly, you find yourself feeling lighter, more energized, and more in tune with your own goals and desires. Then it becomes easier. Then it becomes better. You start to feel safe and free, and you take responsibility. You're no longer weighed down by the expectations of others. The reactions from others, however, can be unsettling. People who once relied on you may try to reignite the cycle. They may accuse you of being cold, selfish, or uncaring. They may even use guilt or manipulation to try to bring you back into the fold. But your detachment does not require you to explain yourself or justify your actions. You don't need to defend your decision to stop caring. Their response is not about you. It's about them struggling to maintain the power they once had over you. In the end, the act of stopping caring isn't about making others pay or seeking revenge. It's about freedom. It's about recognizing that your emotional state is yours to control. You are no longer a puppet to the demands of others. You no longer have to meet the endless, often unspoken expectations that come with being someone's emotional caretaker. When you stop caring in this way, you take back the reins of your life. You prioritize yourself, your well-being, and your goals. You stop seeking validation in the approval of others and start validating yourself. It's a powerful place to be. And though others may not understand it, and they may even try to manipulate you back into old patterns, you are now equipped with the understanding that your worth is not determined by how much you care about others, but by how much you care about yourself.